And we're here. I wish StreamYard did that a little smoother, but that's okay. I'm Shira Dedman. We are here with Devin Wyrsch for, did I say it right? By the way, I always say Wyrsch.
Yeah, kind of right.
Can you say it right?
Wyrsch.
Oh, that's right, because German's a V sound. My bad.
Exactly.
I'm Americanizing everything. Wyrsch.
Yeah,
Devin Wyrsch of
that's perfect.
CryptoChefs. Thank you. And yeah, this is Web3 Weekly. Every week, I guess, every week we're trying to talk about things Web3, and the best way of putting it is, why should you care? Why should the average non-developing person care? And why should you care for your business? How do you get ahead of this next generation of the internet? Because we're all going to get there eventually. It's just whether you get there on the, dragging and fighting it, or if you're on the front end of this. So that's what we're here to do. It's such a new space, so let's all learn together. This is an experiment. Things may break. That's always what you have to remember in dealing with new technology. So thank you, Devin, for joining us. I'm so excited. Devin and I actually randomly connected a while ago. And one thing you're going to learn too, that I learned, is that in this world, at least for now, of blockchain, there are many blockchains, and they all have like different cultures, and they're distinct and stuff like that. So I have personally been learning a lot about the Cardano blockchain. But my friend Devin, this is a cross-chain explanation, because Devin actually works on a project that is on the Polygon blockchain. So welcome to the idea of cross-chain, and I'll put that in our thing. So cross-chain's a thing, because right now there really isn't a lot of interoperability. Even though Polygon is interesting in that it's, I guess, built on top of Ethereum. So it's related to the Ethereum blockchain, which most people know about Ethereum. It's like most people know Bitcoin and Ethereum. So we'll, not to bore you further. Hey, Devin, tell us a little bit more about yourself. What got you into blockchain, this blockchain Web3 world? And yeah, let's start from there.
Hey guys, so first of all, thanks for having me today. I'm Devin Wyrsch. I work for CryptoChefs as community manager and also part of the marketing team. I got into crypto in like 2018, I guess, pretty randomly actually, when I was 16, so at a pretty young age. It was because I saw a tweet about like Bitcoin and stuff like that, and I thought, oh yeah, seems cool. I'm gonna ask my dad to invest, which he did, and he sold it like a week after. So yeah.
Awesome daddy, by the way, who's like actually listens to their kid. I love it.
Yeah, but he sold it, so not the best move from his side, but at least he listened to me. So I've worked in many different projects over the past years. Right now, CryptoChefs, I've worked for Empire Token, Ord, a few really small projects, a few NFT projects, play to earn games, and just random stuff that kind of popped out of the ground and failed a week after. And yeah, so I'm happy to talk today about like Web3 and engagement, play to earn, learn to earn, and all of that. We continue.
I saw that. I was like, oh, I'm talking to myself. And that's what we're here to learn today, is more about how these new business models relate to how to engage with customers, how to engage with the people that are, I would say, these that are engaging with NFTs. And so these are new NFT business models, and really a way of looking at new engagement strategies. You're going to need new engagement strategies to bring people in to adopt these NFTs. And then what do they do with these NFTs? And that's what Web3 allows us to do, from my opinion, and what I'm learning, is that we really have to look at engagement in a different way, because that's the power of Web3, is changing how we engage with our technology and with each other.
Definitely. And the engagement is like really different with Web 3 compared to Web 2. A lot more random, like how things work and don't work. It's like try, maybe succeeds. Oh, well, this failed. Okay, try the next thing, and over and over and over again. And what worked this week might not work next week. So it's a really fast-paced environment, and it's difficult to have long-term marketing strategies, and especially community managing strategies and community design strategies. So it's really different to Web 2.
So before we talk more about those differences, can you tell us a little bit more about CryptoChefs as a project? And then let's get into sort of the engagement differences that you've seen, especially having worked at CryptoChefs and using CryptoChefs. And then, so first tell us about CryptoChefs. Thanks.
Okay, so CryptoChefs is a play to earn and learn and earn NFT game. Basically, like the goal of it is to educate people about how the markets work, and we do that in like a pretty playful, gamified way. We sell NFTs, which we call chefs, because they are like a chef drawing, a ninja chef, vampire chef, like a lot of different kind of cool avatars. And those chefs create recipes. A recipe, like in simple terms, is a crypto index fund consisting of 3 to 20 different cryptocurrencies, which you all mix together in one pot and try to get good like rates on it. Like the markets are doing really well for Medic, and you have Medic in your recipe, the aroma will be so good, and you will get aroma, which is our own cryptocurrency.
Okay, so just I want to stop right there. Okay, so I'm engaging with CryptoChefs, and part of it is that I am creating recipes based on the different blockchains, the different cryptocurrencies, and each blockchain has its own cryptocurrency. Like Matic, which you mentioned, is the token, the cryptocurrency for Polygon, right?
Exactly.
ETH for Ethereum, ADA for Cardano, BTC, Bitcoin. So we have it, and we're kind of playing around, and the idea is that I'm saying like, oh, I don't know, like 100 ADA versus like 500 Matics, and that's going to be part of what my recipe looks like.
Yeah, exactly. So we like mix together, for example, if I would create a recipe right now, I would say, my recipe consists of 60% Ethereum, because the merch will come like in 2 weeks. Maybe 20% Cardano and 20% Polygon. If that performs well in a like time span of 7 days and better than the other recipes, my recipes gets a part of the weekly reward pool, which is 10,000 aroma, which would be like $1.5K US right now.
Okay, so aroma are, I imagine, the cryptocurrency or the tokens that CryptoChefs that are specific to CryptoChefs.
Yes, exactly.
And
Those
so
power our game.
okay, and so how do I get those? So I have to buy like Ethereum tokens, or I have to buy Polygon, like I have to buy Matic to then buy the aroma?
You have to buy Medic, and then swap in it on decentralized exchanges, because we are like a DeFi project, and we only trade right now on QuickSwap exchange, which is like the sushi swap of Medic, or the pancake swap, which is on Binance Smart Chain.
Okay, say that one more time, because I don't think I've heard of like KuCoin. I've heard of like all sorts of things. So what was the name of it again?
Quick swap. It's decentralized, so there's no like
Okay.
nice little phone app which you can use. It's difficult, but if you're into that, it's really cool and
Okay.
way more possibilities than on
Okay.
KuCoin or
So
Binance.
so are most of the people that are into this kind of already tech savvy, because it takes such, like, you have to be willing to go into a DeFi or a decentralized exchange, or kind of going off the beaten path in terms of getting the token. So would you say that most people who at this point are playing CryptoChefs are more, like I said, tech savvy and willing to sort of take more tech risk, allow things to break?
We have two sides actually. We have like the really tech savies who know how everything works and can actually explain how does the blockchain work, and we have some like 50-year-olds who CryptoChefs was their first NFT and they've never played like any P2E game, don't have any other currencies except for Medic and Aroma,
Okay.
which we like kind of help them get there, and now they're getting into the topic and expanding with our partners, for example.
Okay. All right. Sorry, I didn't mean, I try not to do too many like side offs, but I just want to make sure, because we hear with people, especially for people who aren't used to all of the token based names of everything, and then you're throwing all this stuff at them. So I just want to like make sure that we're helping people sort of stay along. So okay, so CryptoChefs, I have my Matic, I bought my Aroma, and now I'm engaging, I'm creating my recipes. And so it's really like helping people who are into this blockchain world get sort of deeper in and get rewarded for coming up with, for engaging with this idea of like an investment portfolio. Like it's almost like fantasy football for a crypto investment portfolio. Does that sound right?
Exactly. It's perfectly described for like in beginner terms. It's fantasy football for crypto. Yeah.
Okay, great. All right, so now that we have a better understanding, and again, we're here with Devin Wyrsch of CryptoChefs, um, and we're learning more about Learn to Earn, which is a learn to earn NFT strategy. So it's an engagement strategy that people are using with NFT models. And so Devin is walking us through what this looks like and what he has learned um, by working at CryptoChefs, and how by learning these things about what Web3 is using to engage audiences, that we can start to understand why we might want to adopt Web3 strategies into our own businesses. Thanks, Devin. So let's go into this again. What does all of this mean? Like, is this a way to make sure that we want people to get an NFT? Well, what good is an NFT? Is this to make sure that they're getting some kind of utility out of the NFT? There's a reason they're getting the NFT. I mean, how did the idea of CryptoChefs come about?
The idea of CryptoChefs was like we like art, so the art is like was in the focus in the beginning, and there are a lot of NFTs like with no utility, which we call trash NFTs. So we thought we need something, and the best way was giving it a fun utility for beginners. And we thought, oh, well, the third generation of gaming is like a good way to do it, because the first one was buying like the Nintendo cards, CDs, pay to play. The second one was pay to win with Clash of Clans and all of those. Hey, buy stuff to get better in the game. And the third one is actually rewarding for playing the game. So play to earn. And it's fairly like new system. Um, and we thought we might get into that, and we are into it now and creating a game, maybe more games in the future, who knows. But right now we're focusing on CryptoChefs and doing all of that.
Yeah, back to so one of the things that we're talking about with utility is you're going to hear that a lot when dealing with NFTs, right? So at this point, I would say when you don't have any utility, when you think of an NFT, we're just going to think of it as a fancy piece of digital art. But you can start throwing special features into that. And that's the way when I look at utility and how to define utility, I define it as special features. It reminds me of back in the day when you used to buy a DVD and you got extras. And people would collect the DVDs because they wanted all the extras, like, oh, I want to hear from the filmmaker, or I want to hear narrate, the film. And that's what that's what NFT utility means. And I think a lot of people are realizing that the whole point of Web3 is to go just above and beyond what is available in Web2. So getting people to adopt NFTs just for the sake of having fancy art. I mean, you're going to get some of that, but again, what's the real point? Why am I going to go through all of these steps, obtaining all these tokens just to end up with some digital art? I mean, there's more to that, but I think that's what a lot of people are thinking. And so engaging people through real utility, real, special features that they care about, whether it's because they want to engage in a game or if they want to engage in a community, or I should say a story-based community. That's really the beauty of Web3 and the point of an NFT. Do you feel like that's a good explanation?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it's the perfect explanation. Like if you look at the biggest NFTs, like the Bored Ape Yacht Club, it has utility, which is be part of something exclusive. Like you can go to parties on a yacht and all of that, which is a utility, and that's part of what should NFTs be, and not just a glorified JPEG.
Yeah, a glorified trading card.
Yeah.
I don't know, something like that. But yeah, so it's funny that you mentioned Bored Apes Yacht Club. It's funny, there's too many words in there, so sometimes I get it like mixed up. But what's interesting is now that they have this NFT out there, that they're creating a cryptocurrency. Essentially, the best way I can put it is like a cryptocurrency backed by the value that the NFTs have brought. Whereas I think that in a lot of ways, like we've seen people throw out tokens, and then the tokens are already out there, and they're saying, okay, well, this is currency. Whereas these people have sort of built the value first and then thrown the token on top of that. So I think that's really interesting. Where again, like they're not just kind of sort of saying this is valuable because we say it is. In a sense, it's like, oh no, we've proven this thing is valuable that we're backing it with. How do you feel like learn to earn games or play to earn games? Like, how do you feel that those kind of strategies can be adopted to where you are sort of maybe first, like, how do you create the value that makes people want to come in? I guess is my question.
Well, in Web3, I usually have like two main values why people come in. First is the utility, which I think we've talked quite enough about. And the second one is the community. Because without community, there's no real value. Because with 5 people, even if those 5 people have like a really nice game, build everything, it works perfectly, it has no real value if there's only 5 people. The numbers have to grow, so those two things kind of go hand in hand with each other, and one can't exist without the other.
So how you as a community manager and having to help these communities learn to engage with each other, it sounds like beyond the game, that you need them engaging beyond the game to sort of stay in the game. How does that work? That sounds extremely difficult.
Yeah, it is quite difficult, especially if you're still pretty small. Because let's say one thing you can always do is a meetup. So let's say let's meet in a bar, go have some drinks with the communities or like the bigger investors, which we call gourmets, which we've done before, which is a great way because you get to know each other. build friendships, and the chat is gonna talk about those things which lead people into the chat, like acquisition, retainment, and conversion. It's like a cycle which goes round and round and gets bigger and bigger. In German, we call it like Teufelskreis, which is in that sense a good term. It's like how could I translate it? Like the devil's circle. Doesn't sound too nice, but in that terms, it's like really good because if you have one, the next will come, and will get bigger and bigger. But the start, like the Kickstarter, is always the most difficult part, which is like the try and hopefully succeed part.
So it's really interesting to me because right now we're talking about Web3 engagement strategies, and you just brought a physical meetup.
Yeah.
So are you finding that more where it's like we're talking Web3, but it's like to be successful in Web3, you still have to bring in an in-person component or somehow what I'm going to call either what do they call that? Analog? I don't even know what people call things now. In person.
Nope.
I say in person or a Web 2 experience. Like you still have to. Web3 is still a hybrid. You can't. I would say maybe the full-born Web3 experience would be what, like the metaverse? Would you
Yeah.
say probably the metaverse? So
Yes.
not everybody has to engage in the metaverse to be a part of Web3 or adopt Web3 into their businesses, because as you see, these things are hybrids anyway. It's not like you have to just see yourself as a Web3 company to have value or a Web3 strategy. And that's why we're learning so much, because again, your company doesn't have to be like in the metaverse just to be a part of this or want to be a part of this. There are things in Web3 that can help bring, I guess, value to clients and customers for a company, and be the reason why a company wants to adopt these strategies. So I think that's just kind of important to understand, because I think sometimes a lot of people are so, I don't know, they just like don't really want to adopt something because they feel like they have to go like 100% in. And it's not, just hearing you talk, it's just not even really about that. So again, tell me a little bit more. One of the things we talked about, and we talked about the last time, is a lot of times with this Web3 world, everything is like Twitter and Discords. And so I'm still trying to learn more about Discord. And I think a lot of us are. Because I think a lot of us go into Discords and we still feel very overwhelmed and we walk away. So what have you learned about managing a Discord server and having to use a Discord server to manage a community, a Web3 based community? What have you learned about best practices?
I think the very first thing I learned is don't post too much. Like if you've ever been to Discord, you see like those red circles with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like the number of notifications in there. And I've been to servers like 99 plus notifications in a few hours, and people will mute your server, which you really don't want. So we try to like use like 1 or 2 big notifications per day, so no one gets overwhelmed. Have a clear structure like a general chat, a meme bar, so everyone knows. Oh, general chat. Okay, I can go there to talk. Meme bar. Let's look at some memes, which is difficult to build in the beginning. Like to find out what do we actually need, what do we want to have, just that we don't have like too much, like 80 different channels, and you don't know which channel is for what, and having like the overview of every single one is impossible. So I think that's the most difficult part, and the thing you should focus on first is like the infrastructure and the plans of how much do you want to post actually.
It's funny too, because I feel like that's the opposite of like Twitter and yeah, right. There was like post, 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 post. And yeah, if somebody does that in Discord, you're like, oh my God, I have so many notifications. I don't ever want to look at it ever again. I don't want to bring it up. And then like I had a talk with Natasha Young, who does a lot of social media strategy and digital content strategy for Web3 projects. And we were having this conversation a couple of weeks ago, and I said, what is it with these Discord servers? There's too many channels. I can't take it. And I just disengage. And it does. I totally disengage from the project, a project I care about. And I just am like, I don't care. And I don't want to see posts where they say, hey, how's everybody doing? Like, ask me a real question then. Like, I just feel like it's already so overwhelming. And then when you get all those notifications that don't really tell you anything, they just overwhelm me even more. So it's just funny that you have actually having to manage these communities have learned, like, nah, don't be doing that. Don't be posting. don't be posting too much. You're overwhelming people. And then, yes, I agree that I think that Discords need to be, like servers should be, the channels should come along with as they're needed. Whereas I feel like you go into one and somebody like tried to pre-think everything possible topic, but that's like not how people actually use it. And then you just feel like when you go in there, you're like, oh my gosh, and you feel like you have to go through all of these channels and it's just too much. Anyway, that's my own rant. I keep giving that rant in case people watch this and they're thinking about starting a Discord server because they're just like, that's what everybody's doing. Let's get on Discord. I just want them to do it in a way that is like not so overwhelming. It's like a bunch of religions. Thanks for that comment. They throw too much at you. Anyway, yeah, if you guys have any comments, please throw some in. We like to throw them up to also share them and hopefully engage. This is definitely supposed to be more of like an engagement type of space. If you ever want to call in, a lot of times we throw in a link. I can do that now. I've noticed people kind of like to just chill and write comments, but I'm going to throw that in the comments right now section. That's a link in case y'all want to chime in. So back Devin to our talk. Thanks again, Devin from CryptoChefs. And that's their Twitter handle because Twitter is so important. Make him post more, y'all. If he's not posting enough, let him know.
No, my boss already tells me that. don't say that.
Why? They have to harass you.
Oh no.
Okay, so again, we're talking about Web3, and every so often I like to throw up the definition of Web3 just to kind of I'm resetting the room. And that is Web3 is powered by blockchain and cryptocurrency. So again, that's why to begin with, you hear us talking about, with CryptoChefs being on Polygon, you're going to hear us talk about Matic token because that's the token of the Polygon chain. There's all sorts of other tokens and chains, and the deeper you get into this, you might start to favor one chain over another. Or you're going to just be like, nah, I don't care. I'm chain agnostic. And so there's definitely more of a move to be, how do you say, it's like more cross-chain projects, learning how to create technology that's going to bridge the chains. And so you'll hear about bridges. Right now, they're still wonky in that they cause a lot of people to, how do you say this? Like risks, not risks. They're very risky in the sense of the bridge allows for openings in the code that people tend to exploit. There you go. Anyway, so back to our Web3 engagement strategies. If you have any questions because you want to know, maybe you're thinking also starting a Web3 project, maybe not. Maybe you have what I'm going to call a Web2 project, but you're trying to understand how Web3 engagement strategies might work for you, for your company. Go ahead, chime in, and we'll try to answer your questions. So, Devin, back to this. Can you explain to me what the difference between learn to earn and like maybe learn and earn is? Because I've seen this play to earn versus play and earn, and I don't know if you've heard that difference, but I've seen it, and I'm like, I don't know, what's the difference?
Well, between play to earn and play and earn, there's no difference.
It's okay, they're just using it. Okay.
Legal terms, like play to earn is the legal term, play and earn is like the nicer, friendlier way because it kind of implicates you earn anyways, but if you play, you earn with it. and you
Okay.
don't have to play to earn.
Okay.
But learn to earn or learn and earn, that's like a different story,
Okay.
because that implicates that the game revolves about learning something. It could be about Web3, the markets, could also be like mathematics, something like that,
Oh,
or
that's
chess.
interesting.
I know a
Okay.
game which is focused on chess. I think it's called Immortals, which is a learn to earn game, but they say they're a play to earn game because play to earn is like bigger and like a buzzword. So projects usually tend to use play to earn
Okay.
all the time. So yeah,
That makes
it's like,
sense to me. But
yeah.
here, okay, so here's my question. Is there really anything to learn about learn to earn beyond games? Or is it really something like a model that is really geared toward games? And then it's just what is it that you're gamifying? I guess is that what really the question is, as opposed to, no, this is a good engagement strategy beyond just games.
Well, I think learn to earn is actually like everywhere. Think of like universities. You learn in the university to maybe earn more later. Like you study law to become a lawyer, lawyers earn more. So that exists
Okay, except this
everywhere.
one, that didn't really work out for me. No,
It could work
that's
out.
okay. That's okay.
So I think that exists. It just became a buzzword in Web3, which makes it a bit different because no one thinks like learn to earn when they think about university or like some school. It's really Web3 focused. You could implement it in pretty much any business or any game. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean that definitely makes sense to me. Like you said, like it's actually everywhere. We just don't see it. And so I get one of the things that I realized in business, they did start this whole push of using the word gamify, right? So it's like we got to gamify this and we got to gamify this, and there definitely this term of gamification around community engagement in general, right? So bring somebody into your community, reward them for commenting, and really it's just a way of incentivizing the engagement itself, because a community isn't a community if people aren't engaging with each other. And so I guess for me, like I guess hearing this, you're right, we actually do it, but we just don't realize it, in a sense. Like you engage in university because you're going to because you're going to get a diploma that's supposed to like increase your earning. So thank you for explaining that to me. And I definitely think that this is a way of we have already seen increases in gamification to create, like I said, community engagement. And this is just using the blockchain to do that. And so what are the benefits of using the blockchain to gamify? Like, can you articulate that? Like, why don't I just give people rewards? Like, this game can exist without the blockchain. Why do I want to use the blockchain? Like, why do I guess it's the idea of the cryptocurrency itself, but like, why do I want that versus just any standard token?
I think it's a difference between like how Web2 businesses mainly focus on profit, and right now Web3 is more focused on revolutionizing and all of community building and stuff like that. I don't think like any PlayStation game would say, "Hey, here are $5, play our game." But in like the Web3 space, people they need like an initiative to play the game, so they started to give out money, which works really good on the blockchain because of smart contracts that say like every transaction gets taxed 5%, for example. Those 5% will get sent to every single holder, so they get like reimbursed for using their token, which is like why it's so good to use the blockchain for giving back money and play to earn games specifically.
Well, I think I was it I was on Twitter the other day, and somebody wrote, Web3 is just like blockchain. They're trying to create problems. No, they're trying to create problems to create. Darn it, I'm missing this
They're
up.
trying to solve problems they
They are
create.
creating. Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. They're trying to solve problems they're creating. And so I guess that's why, for me, I always want to ask the question, well, why Web3? Like if this is a solution that can be solved by Web2, why Web3? You see what I mean? So that's always why this is my question, because I'm still trying to wrap my head around some stuff. I mean, I definitely see benefits like to Web3 when we're talking, or to blockchain when we're talking about, let's say, like land deeds, right? Like you always want to keep a record of a land deed, so you want that rubber stamped into the blockchain, and but I'm still trying to wrap my head around when I'm always asking why Web3, even though I'm now in this world. And I guess for me the answer is it's definitely opening up worlds that may exist in Web2. I guess I just wasn't privy to them. I wasn't privy to how we connected, and now I feel like I'm just connecting with people I just like never would have. Like I just meant like globally too. It's just really crazy. So that's why Web3 for me. And as we continue to go through these interviews, I'm sure this will get fleshed out of why Web3.
Just thinking, why Web3 is actually a good question. I don't think I could answer it. I know I like Web3 more just because how it all works, how the people communicate with each other. Like if I compare to my Web2 job, the communication and how things are running they're so different. Like the hierarchies and all of that. Web3 is more. But I like to compare it to the beginning of the internet. What I've been told, because I'm too young for that. I think I'm gonna hear that for the rest of my life.
No, I just do it because I can. And just again, so if you guys don't know, I have already, unlike some of my interviews where I'm literally meeting people on at that time, I can josh with Devin. He has to deal with me. So we got it like that. Sorry, y'all.
Oh, I forgot where we were. Oh, right, comparing it to the internet. So if new technologies emerge, there's always a really big market gap where you can push everything in. You can sell beer, for example, over the internet. I've seen a project selling beer. When you hold their NFT, you get free beer. That wouldn't work in Web 2. You can't say, oh, here is a contract. I'm going to sell it to 500 people and you get free beer. Like 200 liters per year. Wouldn't work. But in Web 3, where it's new, it's like, oh, I have a dumb idea. That's going to work. If people are interested, it's going to work in emerging technologies, which is why I like Web 3.
Yes, thank you for reminding me about that, because sometimes, like I said, when you're dealing with this idea of like NFTs and sort of we'll call the more engagement part of it, you forget that there's this whole other world of Web3 that really you're trying to figure out how to get people to engage in Web3 to engage with this whole other part that is so helpful, like the thing that I just mentioned and what you just mentioned. And so I threw down the idea of tokenization too, where the beauty of Web3 of things like fractional ownership and all sorts of things that you get access to through Web3, and what the power of all of these tokens are, and creating tokens, and even NFTs are taking the place of tokens. That because like now you can have an NFT that's a deed. I just keep using real estate as an example just because it's easy for people to understand, in my opinion. That these are the reasons we care about Web3 and the power of Web3 that isn't in Web2. And really, we're just trying to get more people into Web3, connecting to that. And so you have things like learn to earn games and other things that bring people into this world, into this atmosphere. And then before they take that next step of actually engaging with what I'm going to call the why Web3 reasons. So thank you for saying that, Devin, because I totally was like, why Web3? And then it's like, oh yeah, you reminded me why Web3. And like even like the whole world of DeFi, which we don't, you know, we didn't really talk about, but which obviously your game is helping people to, well, I'd have to get your token. Like that's, you're already kind of like entering the world when you start actually getting the tokens and then becoming more knowledgeable about that through these recipes and playing against other people. So that's, we'll talk about DeFi another day, because I feel like that's just it's such a heavy thing to get into, but it's so cool that if you want, I guess, to engage more into learning about that, it sounds like that's what CryptoChefs can do. So throwing up the Twitter again, that's the Twitter. I guess you'll be talking to Devin on Twitter. There's a Discord. I'm sure if you go to CryptoChefs website, and I will hide that because you'll see it in Devin's thing. That's CryptoChefs website. If you go to CryptoChefs website, you'll learn a lot more about the game and how to engage with the game. Hey, do you guys have like a video to walk people through how to obtain the token?
Yes, we do. On the website, we have a tutorial video, which includes like how to buy it, how to buy the chef, how to play the game, pretty much from A to Z, everything you need to know.
All right, cool. I know I had people coming over and dropping off mason jars. But anyway, all right, cool. So if y'all want to learn more, you guys want to actually start the education process into DeFi, decentralized finance, sounds like CryptoChefs would be an awesome way to do that. Go again to, that's the website, cryptochefs.io. And it sounds like they have tutorials to walk you through it, so don't be scared. And also, Devin, you guys have a Discord. I imagine, do you guys have space on your Discord server for these kind of questions? If people are like, what am I doing? How do I do this? Can they go into the Discord and ask you these questions?
Yes, of course. Like that's one part of the Discord is helping people to get into it.
That's the point of a Discord? I'm teasing. I'm teasing. Okay, so go to the website. And I'm sure you guys have a link to the Discord server, because Discord always has like a weird like link and stuff. So
yeah, right. Like a yellow button.
Yeah. All right, cool. So find the Discord on the website. Yeah. All right. Is there anything else that you haven't stated, Devin? I feel like I've grilled you like crazy.
I don't think so. I've liked it a lot. I think we've talked about a lot of things that I didn't really think about earlier, like why Web3. I've never asked myself that question. So it was fun to think about it for once. So yeah, thanks a lot for that. We can hear you.
Thanks for that reminder. I started pressing the banner and I forgot. Anyway, that's what we talked about today. That's Devin. That's the CryptoChefs Twitter. Okay, thank you guys for joining us, or thank you people for joining us. And next week we're going to be talking to Advita Ashok of Kanma Community, and we're going to be talking about wellness, blockchain and wellness, and also what Kanma Community is doing with their decentralized global marketplace. So tune in for that, and thanks again for joining us. Thanks again, Devin, for letting me grill you and agreeing to come on the show. You're awesome.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, bye, y'all.
Bye, guys.